to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, founder and CEO of academia.edu, and as always, I'll be your guide as we journey through some fascinating academic territory. I'm so glad you're joining me for this episode. Oh, remember, everything here is presented neutrally. My job isn't to endorse these ideas, but to open them up and share the questions they raise. So, what do we have today? We're exploring a paper by David G. Little called Soul Fiction and the Art of Conscious Storytelling. It's a mouthful, I know, but once you get into it, wow, there's a lot to think about. The work builds on the ideas of M. Dangi, who established this Dangi era of conscious literature. So if you're the sort of person who feels fiction can open your mind or your heart, you'll probably find this paper intriguing. Let's dig in. What's the core question or problem that David Little is tackling? At heart, the paper asks, can fiction be more than entertainment? More precisely, can stories act as vessels of awakening, tools for raising consciousness, healing, and self-reflection? And should storytelling move beyond just drama or suspense, or even just being clever? Is there an untapped potential lying in the way stories flow through our brains and, well, our souls? Think about that. We live in a world where stories bombard us, TV, TikTok, news, novels. But how often do we pause to wonder if a story actually transforms us? Little suggests that soul fiction as a special tradition can do exactly that. He says it blends imagination with higher awareness, inviting readers and writers alike to step into a space where art and consciousness become a single current of meaning. Now, how does Little define soul fiction? What even is it? Okay, it's got a few pillars: sincerity, emotional clarity, luminous perception, which honestly sounds almost mystical. Rather than sticking to linear plot lines or pure entertainment, soul fiction is described as circulating around transformation. Each story designed to help the reader reflect on their own inner consciousness, not just the outside world. Characters aren't just characters, they're mirrors for our own evolving souls. And sometimes even the silences in the story, the gaps, become part of the meaning. Wild, right? So how does this happen? The paper goes into some pretty fascinating territory. It draws concepts from yoga and subtle energy science. That's basically a way of saying that reading and writing stories isn't just mental, it's energetic. For example, have you ever read a book and felt your mood totally shift? Maybe your chest got tight during a tense scene, or you felt all warm after a happy ending. According to this paper, that's not just your imagination, it's your heart and mind frequencies actually realigning. The act of writing, Little argues, is a bit like yogic breathwork, careful, rhythmic, transformative. You know, sometimes I try deep breathing when I'm stressed, but I never thought reading a story might work in a similar way. Really makes you wonder. Oh, speaking of digressions, did anyone else ever try writing poetry in college and feel like you were tapping into some, I don't know, bigger creative energy? I'm not saying I ever wrote anything great. I definitely didn't. But I remember sitting in the library, scribbling away, and just feeling connected. Maybe that's what this paper means about stories being a field of consciousness. Food for thought. Okay, back to the paper. David Little places soul fiction inside the Dangi era of conscious literature. So picture a landscape where fiction, language, and creative movements all aim to awaken humanity. It's bundled alongside things like spiritual feminist literature and something called eclipsaran language. I wish I knew more about eclipsaran, actually. Sounds mysterious, right? In this vision, fiction doesn't help us escape life, but refines our experience, transforming reality, not replacing it. Every tale is a path towards wholeness. It's a philosophy that stories can be living meditations. So what does all of this actually mean for you? Why care? Well, maybe next time you read a novel or write a short story, or even just post something online, you might wonder, what kind of consciousness am I bringing? Is the story I'm telling part of some internal awakening or just background noise, even if you're skeptical of the energetic piece, or if you're just here for juicy plot twists? There's a bigger question here. Can literature help us grow, not just distract us? That's provocative. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to think. Remember, my job is to present academic ideas neutrally, not to endorse any of them, but I hope these insights spark a little curiosity. At the very least, the next time you pick up a book, you might see a new layer of meaning, and maybe, just maybe, catch a glimpse of your own evolving story. Thanks so much for joining me on In Depth with Academia. Keep questioning, keep reading, and remember, academic research is never the last word, just the beginning of a new conversation. See you next time.